All right, those just tuning in, we just wrapped up our game, the DeathWatch versus the Necrons, a title match with a final score, DeathWatch 97 to a Necron 48.
Well, I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
To a Necron 48.
Ooh, yeah. DeathWatch like to punch Xenos real bad. So I guess this is going to stay with me for a while now.
Just a little bit longer.
Collecting trophies this week.
Yeah, but it's your weekend. So, all in all, recap. Yeah, DeathWatch hit really hard. I mean, they do. I think I still feel solid behind my list and everything it was doing. The third turn, I believe it was just an absolute nightmare for me. Mm-hmm. Losing Xeris to the Overwatch completely changed and shift the entire dynamic of the turn for what I was trying to do and how I was trying to score. And then you sticking 3 9-inches, going 3 for 3 on 9-inch charges.
Yeah, super strong. I mean, DeathWatch Terminator is getting free rerolls.
You didn't even reroll the Terminators once. You just landed 2 9s.
No, I had to reroll. I didn't have to reroll the Talon Strike because they had a rolled 9.
Oh, I thought you had to reroll them, but no,
No, I didn't have to spend a single CP. It made 3 9-inch charges. Here we go. Yeah, I mean, it's one way or the other. If the Talon Strike didn't pick him up, then I don't know, we'd get him in the next turn or something. But it definitely works.
Yeah, one more round of shooting with that Doomstalker that could be relevant at that point.
The shooting in that turn didn't go as well as I wanted because I just really got the one Doomstalker and just chipped a few wounds off of spiders and things. But the charging made 3 9-inch charges to get in and finish off a Scorpex, finish off the Doomstalker, and put some hurt on Xeris. And obviously the subsequent movement phase for you, Xeris dying to an Overwatch from some dev sense is pretty brutal.
Yeah, a little bit of rust that needs to come off there. They easily could have prevented that from happening, being 3 inches away. So that's on me for that one. Making sure that he's 3 inches out, or making sure that when he finished his move and began his move, all times he was within 3 inches of a unit, so that he would have had the lone op, then that couldn't have happened. And then Xeris would have stood, because that was a huge linchpin for that turn for everything I was planning on doing from that point forward. Xeris needed to live. I figured I was going to hit the Terminators pretty hard. I figured I could do quite a bit of damage to them. Spiders were okay. It was the charge, but then again, like in reverse, I failed the majority of my charges trying to get in onto them as well. I was able to get the one squad, so I was able to take it. But at that point now, I was in the kill zone because now the Xeris was gone. He was the big tanky threat that could actually make the Centurions think if they want to shoot at him or shoot at them, because if he gets open and can rush into the Centurions, he can do a ton of damage. Since he's flat 3 damage, both shooting and combat, he could do a ton of damage to him. So he becomes a threat to the Centurions that lets my spiders and other things not get hit by the Centurions, which then the kill zone was open and they just Zamboni'd the table at that point. So not really much else there. I mean, and then, sticking to the 3 9-inch charges. You picked up the Doomstalker, so it was like, okay, cool. I don't have him to be able to try and damage those remaining squads. And then you took center objective from me and damaged Xeris, so it slowed down his progression. That was a big one, too. And then lastly, charging the score pack, the single score pack left alive, he was burning an objective. Mm-hmm. So, and my plan was burn it and get out of there. Didn't make that charge. I burned the objective. Score pack dies, but I don't care. The objective's gone, and I have 5 more points, and I take some primary points away from you that you scored from where those Terminators are. Now the Terminators got to move. So, that was just a turn where the game said, nope, not your week. This is not your week. This is not your weekend. This is Lane's time. You're taking this. Yeah,
the DeathWatch were hungry for combat, so we made a lot of charges, got where we needed to get. So, yeah, I feel like the list is pretty good. I love the Watchmaster with Thief of Secrets so much, but he goes out and does something and then just dies immediately because his squad is a bunch of T4 2-wound Marines. And I think the Terminator swap out for him was pretty good just because they have so much durability. And although
I feel like every time you go over to the Terminators, you run them for a while and then you start running into the I'm a Marine not shooting into Oath of Moment luck. where then they just stop doing things.
And that happened in this game because the turn when they made their charges, they actually kind of sucked at shooting because they even with sustain popped for the whole army, they didn't do much in shooting. But they got there in combat. They got there to punch. So I really have to be careful what targets I put them in and keep in mind that they're not going to punch up into 2-up armored vehicles that are in cover, but they are going to take out mid-sized units just with the combination of crack missiles, storm bolters, and if they get into combat, they got a bunch of power fists to throw there too. So, and for 190 points, there's just a lot of value there, and it takes a lot to chew through them. It takes a lot to kill them.
Yeah. So now post tournament, post this game, is there any changes you think you're going to make to your list, tweaking it to move forward?
Yeah, I was talking with friend of the channel, Zach. So part of the challenge is like it's a vehicle heavy meta right now, but in competitive play, a lot of people are running horde stuff as a counter to that, as counter meta, because people are teching to shoot down tanks, not 200 guardsmen or 150 cultists or whatever it may be. So I'm going to take one of the Terminator squads and drop the 2 Thunderhammers and put 2 regular guys with Storm Bolters. And instead of taking the combi weapon lieutenant, put a librarian Terminator in with them. So it gives them another Storm Bolter, and it gives him his D6 psychic attacks, and it gives him sustained all the time. And so I have a unit there that's specifically very strong at taking down a horde. Because if they're within 12 inches, that's going to be 24 Storm Bolter shots, plus 6 D6, plus blast on the Cyclones, plus D6 for a blast from the Librarian, plus the Librarian gives them sustained, and I can throw either like Ignore Cover or Anti-Infantry 2 up on those to just chew through a massive squad of infantry. It's so many shots. And then if I'm not going into a horde, then I can keep the Librarian separate, and he can deep strike and function like the combi weapon lieutenant. So he can just be a Terminator that deep strikes somewhere, scores a couple points, gets on an objective, something along those lines. So that's what I'm toying with. Other than that, I feel pretty good about most everything else in the list.
For me, I think the only thing, and this is something I kind of been toying around with for a bit, and it's starting to kind of rear out here, is swapping the score packs themselves out for just 3 score pack lords. It would put me at 7 characters, which was originally what I was trying to stay away from, but that means you'd have to take down 5 to max out Assassinate. And other than the Cryptex and having crazy access to strong precision, other than the Cryptex, though, a lot of my stuff is very, very durable, especially Score Pack Lords. I would lose 2 wounds comparatively, but I get a 4-up invuln and a toughness 7.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got the impact damage and the flat 3 damage. So he's able to pick up just straight pickup models as he goes. So I'm definitely considering just switching over to the Score Pack Lords, letting them do the exact same thing, and then just kind of shift into the late game by moving into stuff. The only other thing that I was considering with this game that I probably should have done was, instead of having the score packs that stayed back the whole game, I probably should have let the Scarabs do that, stretch them out, and just had a squad of Scarabs back there to move into late game, try to move into center afterwards and piggyback. So that should probably have been the Scarabs' job, to zone out the backfield, since you don't really have a lot of the targets that I want to run them into. There's not a vehicle for them to chew on, which is really nice. And with you having 3-up saves on everything and 3 wounds, even though when I do the damage, it starts getting like knocked down. Terminator's 2-up save starts getting knocked down. So having the score packs out there to kind of countercharge the Terminators and stuff would have been better. And in conversationally speaking, the score pack Lord would have been even better, because then they would have just impact damage to the Terminators. So you got that damage, and then flat 3 on the swings. So once they do that mortal wound, it's, do you want to take it on your 4 wound guy? Probably. Or do you take it on the 3 wound, but then the flat 3 damage? So definitely considering that. I definitely still love this Canoptic list. I love the Spiders and the Scarabs and what it does. I just need to get the reps in with it. This is the 3rd game I've played with this list. So I'm not overly, even with the score being what it was, I'm not overly disappointed, because turn 3 was where the vortex opened up. And reps, one hand you see this game, and this is something that kind of the good closing thought for it. This game, you got to practice. You got to get reps in. Would you agree? Like, you can't just go and throw a list out there and expect that it's going to do everything you want it to the first time.
That's what I did this weekend.
Right.
I mean, I play DeathWatch a lot, but this list specifically, I wasn't feeling well last week because I hadn't played for 2 weeks before the GT. So this is the first time I've done this with no Watchmaster and Terminator. So I got lucky in terms of, I mean, I know DeathWatch pretty well. You guys know I know DeathWatch. But yeah, definitely reps help, especially with like timing and that sort of thing. Like, especially with Xeris, like you said, if you had moved some other unit first, then he wouldn't have been able to be overwatched. So it made a big difference there. And that's just big brain play, understanding that. And I didn't realize until the moment, like, oh, after he moved Xeris, he's not within 3 inches. I could overwatch him. So yeah, that's higher level play. But you know, like GTS, you're going to run into higher level players, so it's one of those things you have to practice, get the reps in.
Yeah, and so not having and like getting the reps into that would make it. There's some other things into it that probably, like I said, with the scarabs and positioning and stuff like that, that's where the reps come in. The giant gap in the score, turn three just got skunked right there. Just absolutely everything. It was, I didn't just run into a wall, the wall ran back into me. So, you know, like I said, you stuck those charges, the 3-9s, you're now over on my side of the field, you're on my objectives, and everything that I did for my turn, you just erased it. And then losing Xeris too. So after that turn, it was very, very difficult for me to kind of pull back. I didn't really have the assets to. I tried to fight it back, but the Centurions just went into Super Saiyan mode and started bouncing around the table saying, we're just going to blow everything up. And when that happens, when they're able to just bounce around the table willy-nilly like that, that's when you know the game's done. And yeah, I'm playing off meta. I'm playing Canoptic Court. You are definitely more in the Marine meta, not the vehicle side of the meta, but the Marine jumping around meta. And
I mean, DeathWatch, barely anybody plays DeathWatch. The only army that people play less is Imperial Agents, but DeathWatch's win rate right now, I think, is around 60%. So the few people that are playing it are doing real well. It's a tricky army to collect, and a lot of people are kind of turned off by the fact that GW might just delete the whole army again. Who knows? So probably a whole lot of people aren't attracted to it, and it can be a tricky army to collect. But for the people that are playing it, it is
those
doing really
up and
well.
down, the guns that you up and down are just absolutely insane.
Yeah. There are up and downy armies, but usually they don't shoot as hard as DeathWatch. I think DeathWatch is the hardest shooting infantry-based Marine army. You probably get harder shooting from like an Iron Storm list with a bunch of vehicles and things. But yeah, just the DeathWatch, all their different units, you know, Deb Sense with their rerolls, popping double oath, going sustained, going lethal, all those options just make it when you need to hit hard, you absolutely can. So,
all right, guys, well, we're going to wrap it up there. Necrons not doing well for Crontober, but we do have one more game to pull it back in for the Crons. Next week, it will be our annual Zombies versus Skeletons. I have been working on a list, something I want to mess with, as Lane was mentioning, with some armies going over to a Horde style. There's something I was kind of messing with a little bit. So we'll see how this does. And as always, thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you again soon.